All right, ladies and gentlemen and programmers, we're going to do lesson 5, part 2 of the piano. We're going to learn about Boolean instance variables to improve efficiency, and we're going to learn to use logical operators such as and not. Okay, so let's talk about the problem. The code worked fine, but it was not efficient. We were constantly switching the image every time the ACT method ran, whether we needed to or not. If the G key was down, the image was constantly switching to the down image. If we weren't touching anything on the keyboard, the processor was still continually running, switching it to the up image, even though it was already on the up image. Okay, so here's the pseudocode solution, and hopefully you wrote something like this in your notes. But if the piano key is not currently down and the keyboard key is down, then you're going to change the image to the down image and you're going to play the sound. And then we need to remember that the piano key is now down. And if the piano key is currently down and the keyboard key is not down, change the image to show the up image, and then remember that the piano key is not down now. Okay, so that's the pseudocode in English. Okay, so let's kind of look at this is the actual Java code. Okay, so this stands for and okay, so here's what we're going to do. So if the key is false, if is down is false, so nobody's pressing, so if the key looks like this, right, is down is false would mean the key would be up and look light, and somebody just pressed the G key, what would happen? Well, we would set the image to the white key down, so we'd change it down, and we'd say, hey, is down is now true. Okay, so this box would now say true. Okay, so now if is down is true, right, so the key would look like this, and nobody's pressing the G key, what would you do? Set the key, set it to the white key up.png, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the scenario. What would happen if is down is false? It looks like this, and nobody's pressing the G key. Nothing would happen. What would happen if is down is true and the G key is being pressed? Nothing. So there's two situations in which something happens, and then there's two situations in which nothing happens. And so you can see how the logic of this code would work. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say private Boolean is key down, and we're going to create the constructor public key. It might already be in there, public key, but we're going to say is down equals false. It's going to look a little something like this. So I hate how the code disappears when I first show it over here. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. We're going to have, here's the class key extends actor, and we're going to say private Boolean is down. So we're going to create our Boolean instance variable. It can hold, it's a box that can hold true or false that belongs to that individual key. And then in the constructor, we say is down equals false. Okay, and this is the key constructor. And then the rest stays the same for now. Okay, that's what we've got so far. Okay, so the logical operators such as and not can be used to combine multiple Boolean expressions into one Boolean expression. So this means and, this means not. So if is down is not true, and so you have two things that have to be true. So the is down is false, and the G key is being pressed. Okay, so notice I have not, so is down is not true, and this would say is down is true. We don't have the not. Okay, we have the and then we flip-flop the not. Greenfoot is key down G is false. Nobody's pressing the G key. Okay, so that's the code that we want. So let's take a look at that. I want you guys to write that code into your project. So we're going to change the check key press method to look like this. Okay, and also make sure you write this down in your notes. Logical operators and not can be used to combine multiple Boolean expressions. So instead of just one thing, now these two things have to be true. These two things have to be true. Okay. All right, so if you didn't already do so, make sure you implement this, add this into the check key press method, and once it's compiled, it should fix our problems, the ones that we can see and the ones that we can't see. So when I hit run and I press the G key, it only plays once. We can't see it, but the image isn't constantly switching now, and it's not constantly switching now. It just switches one time, making our project way more efficient. Okay, take this quiz. This code worked, but what was wrong with it? Well, what was wrong with it was switching the image constantly with the key down. If I wasn't pressing the G key, it was constantly switching it to the up image. What two things did you have to do to fix the problem above? Well, you had to add a Boolean instance variable that acted as a flag, and you had to add your Boolean flag, which is private Boolean is down. Okay, your Boolean instance variable, and then you had to add the operators and not in order to allow your if statement to be a little more complex to handle this thing better. Okay, what is a Boolean instance variable? Right, an instance variable is a variable that holds true or false. Using the correct logic operators, write the code that will, if this person, somebody, is not smelly and they are intelligent, then marry them. And what are Okay, I think that's it for day 2. So next time we're going to continue on with day 3.